Coach, just your reaction to the game and your feelings about it, bittersweet.
Good evening, afternoon, evening, members of the media. It's actually, it is evening. Bittersweet. Would have loved to do it a different way, but one wise man once taught me that man plan but God decides. And so the Almighty decided that it should end like this and it should culminate like this. And of course we've got to respect that. Even though there's of course a sense that we've got to congratulate Cape Town City for the victory, and we mustn't forget that, because there was a football match that took place, and being the only club that beat us. So congratulations to Coach Eric and Cape Town City. But a big, massive congratulations to this football club. Braboni won't forgive me if I don't mention his name there at our head office. Congratulations to Braboni, Motsepe, to the Motsepe family, the technical team, the football club, from ground staff, people like Shupi themselves, incredible contributions, the analysts, conditioning coaches, and this incredible group of players, record after record, incredible season, and very, very proud of what they've done, this group of players.
We'll take questions from the floor. As much as we know you, please just introduce yourselves. Thank you.
No, I'm just trying to
figure out and formulate. Thank you.
Coach Olu, the Coach News from Africa. Speaking about that bittersweet feeling of not going all the way unbeaten, did you feel like you had that opportunity when you kept on getting those late equalizers, especially that game against TS Galaxy? Do you think now the gods are on your side and you're finally going to do it? Or?
It's never been done in South Africa before, and I've kept saying that it's a very, very difficult thing to do. Of course, when you get into the last match, you start smelling it, you start thinking about it, you start preempting that there is that possibility. But okay, you've got to accept, as I said, you've got to accept that some of the things are through God's divine plans, and you've got to accept. I said to the players, even in the change room after the game, they were sad, and I said, don't forget that winning and losing, they are both imposters, and you got to treat both of them the same. And very proud that we've managed to deliver the most iconic that for generations to come. When Sundowns players do this with their supporters, there will be an iconic meaning to it. They were the first group to win 7 league titles in a row. It will never be done ever again. And so this group needs to be applauded and praised and adulated and celebrated for rewriting history.
Coach, commiserations on the loss.
Sure, thank you.
You obviously lost today. You didn't win the Champions League as well, but it's like you said, it's in a season where you win your 7th consecutive league championship, you break the points total record.
Win the AFL also.
Yes, the AFL as well. Are you worried that these perhaps negative results in the Champions League and now not going invincible, do you think that maybe it might overshadow the overriding narrative that is progression with the club and what else you guys were able to do this season?
One thing I've realized, not just with the media and the public and the fans and in general, is that I can't control the narrative. is impossible. Modern society with technology and social media, it's incredibly impossible to control the narrative, and so I don't even try, so people will believe what they believe, and people will see what they see. There are so many things I've given up on trying to convince people to see, because I'm just a weird character, and I've accepted that I'm a very weird character. And so if there are those that believe that we are not making any progress, I can't change that. I can't change that narrative at all.
Coach, Khotatse from Hopola Radio.
Sure, Khotatse.
I have to ask that question that when a player makes a mistake, like what happened today, how do you console? Because I'm thinking that at the back of the mind, he's obviously not in a good space with like what happened after today.
No, he knows I love him. Like I love all my players. We make mistakes. We all make mistakes. I make more mistakes than anyone else, and so it's part of football. It's perspective, If I ask you, what do you see when I lift up this hand? What would you say?
Well, a hand.
A hand with 5 fingers. And if I do this?
Still a hand with 5 fingers.
But there is a difference. And what is the difference?
It's your backhand.
Yeah, but this?
It's your front hand.
And the color is different.
Yes.
But if I look at it at the same time as you look at it, I see completely different to what you see. But it's still the same hand. So my perspective is completely different to a lot of people's perspective. When people see mistakes, I see 29 games of incredible effort. And that's the perspective I choose.
And the player though, but I think because of that, he's not going to see it the same way as you.
No, he'll definitely see it the same way as me, because he'll get the emotions from me. My players know how much I'm with them. I've been with Mtobi Mvala a lot of things, all of them, all the players. I support them. There's a lot of things you guys don't even know about this group, and the connection that I have with this group. So you can rest assured that Mtobi will see the perspective that I see.
Good evening, Coach.
Good evening, sir.
Lucky on the result, but congratulations on the league victory.
Thank you, sir.
Coach, I think in African football and possibly world football as well, you are one of the few coaches that operated a highly tactical vanguard, so which makes you quite different as well. But
thank you.
From your personal perspective, when you're alone, what have you ticked the boxes in this particular season that you are proud of? I mean, maybe because you're one of the guys that go through stats for stat. What is it that the guys have improved from last season to this season?
Well, I to be honest with you, I haven't really absorbed and reflected on the season. I'm yet to put together the report. I have to watch what 56 games back. I have to do it again. I've already watched each game maybe 3 times, except the TS Galaxy game. The TS Galaxy game is the only game this season I've watched once. But every other game I've watched 3-4 times, and so I have to watch those games with a much more sober mind, no emotions, no pressure, no stress, and then try to find those conclusions, But I'm very proud of this group. I'm proud to be their coach, and I'm proud of what they achieved in what was a very difficult season. This season was very, 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 very difficult for us. Injuries, travels, games. It was tough, but we did very well, and I'm very, very proud of them.
Traveling from Houston. Coach, when you look at obviously the season that the team has had, teams that have had half the stress you guys have crumbled, what is it that makes this a special group in terms of what they've been able to achieve in a very stressful season, where you not only were competitive but sort of won the league in a canter. And what do you think this group is capable of in terms of a team that is obsessive about getting better with each coming game?
Yeah, I think there's two very important things. I think, of course, it's the talent. I think they're an extremely talented group of players, and they respect their talent, and they work very, very hard, and that makes them very, very special. But I think also the mentality, the brotherhood that they carry amongst each other. There's a genuine sense of love for each other, and a sense of appreciation for each other's roles and abilities. So I think that's what really makes them extremely special. I think we can only get better. I don't even think we are at 60, maybe even 65% of our potential. Maybe that's where we are flirting at the moment. We've got so much work to do, and a little bit of our progress has been derailed by the fact that we've had no training time, and a lot of the players coming in have needed time to train. And last season, the biggest gap was the January window that we had. We had a mini preseason break, and even when we brought new players in, we had time to work. And this season we didn't. We had AFCON, and we didn't even have most of our players with us then. So I think with a good preseason, with a good rest, with good off season, and a good finish to the season with the Nedbank Cup final, I think we can then reflect on where we are and where we want to go as a group and as a football club.
Coach, and it's from Kickoff. Coach,
Sure, honest.
Your feelings being among the nominees for the coach of the season, and also Ribeiro, I think he deserves to be among the nominees for the football of the season. What are your assessments regarding his performance this season and your feelings about him not being among the nominees?
Yeah, of course I'm disappointed. I think he's been phenomenal. I think he's just been unlucky with the injuries. He hasn't played so many games in his career, and that caught up a little bit with him. But phenomenal footballer and a phenomenal human being. It's incredible. He's one of the best players I've coached. Really, from a gift perspective, and still a player that I still think can improve so much more, and that's probably an even scarier thought, that in his first season, with what he's done and how he's performed, but I could say the same about Marcelo Allende. I mean, it's disappointing also not to see him amongst the nominees. I think Sailor has had a good season also, and him also not being part of the defenders at the very least. But okay, you can't have your cake and eat it, can you? You've got to celebrate the nominations of Ronan, nominations of Skara, who I think has been superb with the Diski, especially the nominations of Debza, and and mine is I'm just nominated because I coach such very good players, and I'm just humbled to be in that space. I think if you look at the work that a lot of my colleagues have done, they deserve also a lot of credit, because the work that Stevie Barker has done is incredible. What he's done with the Stellies is something that they've built over years, and they've been stable and they've supported him throughout. Jose Riviero, apart from him, I like Jose so much. I really do. Every time I meet him, I get a genuine sense of respect, like a genuine sense of sportsmanship, that he's a fierce competitor, but he's a good person, and I think people like that. I think Ernst Middendorp has done a great job since he's arrived. If you look at the form table since he took over, incredible. The TS Galaxy coach has done a good job with that team too. If you look at the team has improved. Some of the players have gotten better. If you look at even from a competitive sense, Gano at Richards Bay, how he's gotten the team to every game getting better. Musa Nyatama at Swallows, he's been. I watch Swallows a lot, and I really enjoy watching Morocco Swallows play football. So there's a lot of the colleagues that I could say deserve also to be nominated, and that just humbles me and gives me a space of appreciating my players even more.
Thanks, Rooms. Evening, Coach.
Evening, Kens.
Like as an outsider looking into your team, I see this season as a season of silver linings. You lose the MTN 8, you win the AFL, knocked out of the Champions League. You a convincing win against a rival like Chiefs to win the league. As much as you didn't get the invincible tag for the season, but you got the record points. I don't know how do you sum up this season? As much as you said that you still have to watch the games, you still have to, but in terms of how you were able to bounce back from the things that I just mentioned to you right now, how do you view that?
It's difficult to say because for every part of the journey there was highs and there's lows, and I've appreciated both the same way, you know. I guess the most important people to ask is the club, is the people who run the football club, is the family, is the board. Those are the people to ask how they gauge the season. I see it as a major success. Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, isn't it? Don't they say that? But I'm proud of this group of players. They've for me they've improved from last season. Last season MTN 8 semi-finals. This season in the finals lost on penalties. The league 70 points last season. This season breaking that to 73 points. Semi-final of Champions League once again, like last season. So it's more or less in the same space. Nedbank Cup quarterfinals this season. Nedbank Cup final. So when I look at the results and purely just based on the results, I see a team that's done better than last season. But that's just my perspective, you know. So and it's a perspective that fills me with a lot of pride and joy.
This is all in Mahlaza.
Congrats on lifting the trophy.
Thank you, sir.
I mean, for a guy like, I would imagine, a guy like, say, Miss Yabi is part of your plans, hence he's still part of the team. But just your message to him and the other players who are in his shoes, I mean, how do you keep them interested?
I pay more attention to them than I do to Debza, to Ronwen, to the ones that are playing don't need my attention. Is the ones that don't play that know how much I love them, and I appreciate their contribution to the group, and they are just as important. In boxing they say you're only as good as your sparring partner, and they play an incredible role. Players like Semi, and unbelievable attitude, and I can say the same about Brian Onyango, incredible human beings. Riyad Peters, Jody February, these players that don't get to play a lot, but they are part of the team, and they they smile and they contribute, they train well, they've got incredible attitudes. So I don't have to say a lot to them. I just have to be there for them and help them to get better.
Coach, you have an interesting project in Mabena.
Yeah.
I think if we look at Pirates, they benefited from that thing of risk and reward with Mofokeng, giving more opportunities to play. Are the Sundowns fans maybe next season likely to see Mabena play more and more, given more opportunities? In England, they say if you are good enough, you're old enough, and that kind of thing. Because I mean, clearly there's something there, but from another perspective, can be say he can actually become better and improve if he plays.
He needs training. Unfortunately, unlike with Pirates have training time. The kids need training, and that's why the most ideal scenario for them was to have Themba Patela with them, and then they could train more with them, because the only way you can fulfill your potential is by making mistakes. And unfortunately at Sundowns, those mistakes are not at training, they're during games. And you could see even today, even with a good performance and his first 90, but his game is full of mistakes. The game against TS Galaxy, his game is full of mistakes. But that's how youngsters are. The kids need to make mistakes. The only way they learn is by making mistakes and being encouraged to make mistakes, and then you coach, because you can't coach based on hypothetical imagination of a scenario that you just imagine. How I look at developing players, and maybe it's because of my youth background, is we work on what we have and we try to improve the strengths. And the only way to identify the strengths is through the weaknesses. And how do you do that? Is through training time. And the unfortunate part with Mabena, Skara, and a lot of players that come through the Sundowns Academy is, and it's worldwide. I mean, Carlo Ancelotti was asked a similar question 2 weeks ago, and he said, "My job is not to promote youth. My job is to win games." In the big clubs, the unfortunate part is the teams play every 2-3 days, and Phil Foden only now this season is shining and getting regular game time, but it's his what is it, 5th, 6th season in the first season, exactly. So it takes a bit of time, especially when you are a big club that's playing every 2-3 days, because we don't train. We do recovery and 10 minutes of tactical work, and that's it. It's done.
We'll take the last 2 questions.
Thank you very much. Coach?
Yes, sir.
Your mentor, the person that you've got so much love and aspiration for, gave you a chance when you were 19, 20. Unfortunately, his club didn't make the top 8. Maybe just words of encouragement to coach Kevin Johnson, because he's had a very difficult time. Maybe just words of encouragement to him, and of course the club, because unfortunately as well, they have not qualified for the top 8, unfortunately.
No, I'll do that personally. I won't do it for the headlines and the things. I'll do it if it's genuine. I'll do it personally. I'll definitely give him a phone call.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach, when you have a team that's gone near perfect, and you've been the best team in the league for quite some time now by a margin, what do you look for in terms of improving this team when you go into the market? What type of criteria do you look for to say, okay, this is what I need to go even better? What is better for you now? Is it to go unbeaten, or how do you improve from it?
Unfortunately, that's where the bar is set. The bar is set from what is this season, and so we next season we can't do anything less than, and it's going to be very difficult next season. So heavy is the head that carries the crown, isn't it? You get blessed with raising the level and trying to get better and better and better and better, but at the same time, the responsibility that comes with that is even greater. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it at the beginning of next season.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
2 press conferences